myself. Oh no, give me that sound. Oh, I gotta go like Cobain. 8 years to the grave, gone insane. My blood got propane. How you gon' go and throw my name with shame? Already cross-faded, making it to the disco. I hate it, and you know how this goes. You framed it, picture painted in my room. This that real life shit, none of Zoom, got the scene in it.
Make sure you're subscribed to JerCrispy.
What's up, y'all? So Smoke Decimals. JerCrispy, we're making that video. What happened to restaurants that impress Gordon Ramsay? Damn, bro. It been a minute since I heard about Gordon Ramsay, bro. Ever since I watched that video of Red's Too Funny reacting to him making that grilled cheese sandwich, the cheese that don't melt or nothing like that.
From the restaurant that served cakes that earned grandma a kiss on the cheek, to the food shack that served the first meal our fiery chef actually finished in the show, let's take a behind-the-scenes look at what happened to the rare restaurants with food that impressed Gordon Ramsay on Kitchen Nightmares, starting with Bazzini, a fine dining spot owned and managed by namesake chef Paul Bazzini and his wife. This restaurant was chaotic at best.
I need to know how long.
I need someone to tell me what 41 is. Don't have eyes in the back of my head.
Okay.
When Gordon Ramsay explored what's behind its doors because the owner chef, Paul, constantly snapped at his staff.
Yell at me that it's not freaking high enough.
Why do you have to make it so difficult for? Why can't we just
And had zero problems serving yesterday's leftovers. To make it all worse, the restaurant didn't even open for lunch service.
Am I too late? Bazzini's, hours, Monday to Thursday, 5 till 9:30. No lunch.
But still, Bazzini managed to impress Gordon Ramsay in the slightest way, which was an incredibly rare feat on Kitchen Nightmares. While most of the food that Gordon Ramsay tasted to size up this restaurant was a total train wreck featuring bland...
Bro, what kind of freaking says that? Why is green like?
The food that Gordon Ramsay tasted to size up this restaurant was a total train wreck featuring bland pasta, dried chicken, and this. The dessert made by Sharon, however, was a whole different story. Gordon loved the carrot cake so much that he was immediately smiles and kisses when he saw the pastry chef. On top of that, he even goes on to ask for the recipe.
Whose recipe is that?
Mine.
Can I have it?
Which is probably the best compliment one can get from a perfectionist chef like Gordon. And after an earful of brutal truth bombs from Gordon Ramsay,
Disgusting cake I ever tried in my life. And that gotta be the most disgusting stuff, hands down. Like, I would rather prefer just to eat a pecan pie. I don't even eat pecan pie. I'd rather eat a pecan pie than carrot cake. Matter of fact, I would rather eat a payday candy than eat a carrot cake.
this
Showed me that you hated cooking. I cannot ignite that little button. I need to see it from you.
Chef Bazzini's passion for cooking was put to the test when Gordon challenged him to create a 15-minute fresh pasta dish.
capellini pasta with a chunky puttanesca sauce and some rock shrimp.
Fortunately, this challenge proved that Sharon wasn't the only praiseworthy chef inside the restaurant.
That's nice. Capellini, cooked perfectly.
Thank you. It just felt good to just have a really positive comment from Chef Ramsay. I really needed that lift.
Because Chef Bazzini also managed to impress Gordon with his new and improved capellini pasta made with love. Unfortunately, though, even the owner chef's last-ditch efforts and Gordon's pep talks couldn't save this burnt-out restaurant from its inevitable doom. Because when Gordon returned to Bazzini to check how it was doing 1 year after filming the episode, he was welcomed by closed doors. He initially thought that they were just closed for lunch, but Sharon, the carrot cake MVP, had to break the bad news.
Listen, I'm standing outside Bazzini's. Why aren't you open for lunch?
closed for lunch, breakfast, supper. It's closed, dude.
What?
Damn.
Unlike the failed restaurant, though, Sharon was thriving after recently starting her own bakery. And just like before, her desserts still impressed Gordon Ramsay's famously picky palate.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Just like Sharon's carrot cake made
brownies.
Gordon see
Man, I ain't lying to you, bro. I wouldn't mind somebody make me some brownies, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Nice good brownie with some milk on the side. Ooh. A little small pan of little brownies. Like 6 of them. Oh, yeah.
Bazzini in the slightest glimmer of hope, the desserts of Blackberries in Plainfield, New Jersey also became its saving grace. Because although the first dishes Gordon tried at this restaurant lined up at a
Macaroni
progression from
and
disappointment
steak meat.
to plain disgust, and finally to these nasty-looking chitlins,
Yeah, I ain't lying to you. If you eat chitlins, bro, something wrong with you mentally. Mentally, something wrong with you, bro. Because ain't no way you should be eating chitlins.
I mean, I know
What is that?
chitlins are being testing, but should they really stink? Before I do taste them, I'd like to pray to God.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name, you are blessed. We rebuke the spirit of the devil.
You are prayed over. We guarantee you that you are not about to succumb to those chitlins.
Mother Mary, the owner's mom and the restaurant's pastry chef, made up for all the disasters her daughter put out. Because when Gordon took a bite of her cake, he was so impressed with the quality that he couldn't resist giving Grandma a kiss on the cheek. Though this compliment may seem small compared to all the complaints Gordon had about the other dishes, it's obviously a milestone considering how rarely Ramsay finds any food he likes on Kitchen Nightmares. So there was definitely hope that the restaurant could pull off a promising relaunch. Now, of course, there were still some hiccups along the way, like the dead mouse planting accusation and the regular heated conflicts between the staff. However, with Gordon's advice, new appliances, and a full interior redesign, the restaurant did manage to transform and execute a successful
Okay. Look at Gordon Ramsay doing something. Just before Mr. Beast.
relaunch. Several weeks after filming, Blackberries was still packed with happy customers, and it was obvious that Shelley had transformed into a softer, more agreeable owner. But unfortunately, this change did not last. In the years that followed, Shelley reverted to her old ways as proven by the customer reviews complaining about hearing all the yelling and screaming from the dining area. The food was said to be frozen or old, which is kind of unsurprising, considering that during filming, Shelley was already in total denial about the state of her food.
I absolutely do not believe that there's that much wrong with
It was only a matter of time before it approached its inevitable shutdown in 2013, less than 2
Damn.
years after the episode aired. However, this ending isn't all that tragic because Shelley, despite being a horrible restaurant owner, ultimately returned to the very career that made her successful in the food industry: catering. By the looks of it, this venture may be sticking with her for the long term. Safe to say that if being a restaurant with a nightmare owner were a crime, Blackberries would have been doing time.
Damn. All right, now. Look, you just cut me off with my. Damn. He said, Blackberry, what be doing time? But damn, bro. Like, yeah, please, bro. Right, in general, anybody cooking some, please don't service no cold food to nobody, because you would not want nobody to service you no cold food. Make sure your food be hot, steaming in that mug. Let it be. As soon as they touch it, ooh. It's supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be like, eating it and telling the freaking waitress, oh my God, this food amazing. I might need to come back tomorrow.
Just not alone, because its cell would have been right next to Burger Kitchens, a Los Angeles restaurant also built like a chaotic family project. This is the restaurant where we get introduced to Alan, the dad who fancied himself a meat expert just because he'd eaten in a bunch of steakhouses, and Jen, his wife, who loved micromanaging but still managed to forget about paying their head chef.
Come in here and I work, I open the place, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I don't get paid. Where's my paycheck?
Then there was Daniel.
I was kind of...
Damn. Imagine saying that live on TV. Now you embarrassing. Bro, why y'all don't be like to pay y'all people their money, bro? Pay your chefs your monies, bro. Like, bro, people gotta eat, pay bills the same way how you gotta pay bills and eat. They gotta pay bills to eat too.
Dragged into this.
The son whose inheritance from his granddad was slowly draining into Burger Kitchen against his wishes and was being treated like a child by his parents instead of a business partner. For Gordon Ramsay, fixing this restaurant was basically half actual kitchen intervention and half family therapy sessions.
When was the last time you actually made a decision together?
So much work needed to be done for Burger Kitchen to get back on its own feet that the process was stretched across 2 episodes instead of the usual one. Luckily though, this restaurant wasn't completely hopeless, because while the first dishes Gordon ordered came out raw or looking like canned cat food, the problem wasn't actually the chef, but the insane system which allowed only Alan and Jen to control anything, including the recipes inside the restaurant. So, once Gordon let Chef David, the actual cooking veteran, prepare a burger using his own recipe instead of the owner's, the difference was night and day. At first, the parents threw hate on the chef's new redemption burger, probably because it stole the spotlight from the recipe they prepared.
Stronger in there, like a dry-aged or something beef. But I do like my meat red in it. I am a medium rare girl.
Problem is that's not medium rare.
But Gordon was quick to defend Chef David's burger and gave it a spot on the new menu.
It's delicious.
Thank you, chef. The temperature's perfect and the roll is crispy.
After the dishes were streamlined, the interior was refreshed, and most importantly, Daniel was given a voice in the kitchen. The results spoke for themselves. Even when the stakes were high during the relaunch night that had rows of critics, influencers, and bloggers from all kinds of outlets, the team managed to redeem themselves.
And the dining room is full of rave reviews.
Bread's great. So much better.
There you go, boss. Okay, good. That's it for tickets then. Bye.
And by the end, Alan had to accept that his son ultimately was a better leader in the restaurant than he was. But unfortunately, this newfound success and peace of the Burger Kitchen were short-lived. After the episode aired, customers visited Burger Kitchen with high hopes, only to be disappointed. Stopped in after watching Kitchen Nightmares. I was looking forward to trying Chef Ramsay's creations, but to my surprise, none of the Chef Ramsay burgers were on the menu. Another complaint mentioned, "We ordered our burgers medium rare and they came out almost well done. Also, there was no taste to the beef patty, and you can't make any substitution."
Oh God, they don't put no seasoning in your patty? Just eat a plain patty with no type of season.
To the burger. It turned out that even before the episode aired, the Saffrons had already sold Burger Kitchen in October 2011, and the new management closed it down for good just 4 months later. And while you'd think buying a sinking restaurant would be the last thing anyone would do, you'd be surprised how often this happens, as this was also the exact same move pulled by Billy and Carolyn when they bought Handlebar, which was already run down and buried under endless problems. To chase the dream of bringing Handlebar back to its former glory, the couple blew through every penny and maxed out their lines of credit to purchase the restaurant. After all, back in the day, Handlebar used to be the hotspot for the big money crowd, including doctors, lawyers, and judges. But as with all restaurants featured in Kitchen Nightmares, the owner's vision for Handlebar and the harsh reality of its condition were polar opposites. Because what greeted Gordon Ramsay was
Oh, that was a Pac-Man machine right there. Go back.
Of its condition were polar opposites.
Oh, that ain't Pac-Man. That's I don't even know what type of game is that, but I look like the oldest. What's it called? What you get your money from? Not DMV. It's like you get money from this stuff like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Gordon Ramsay was an eerily empty dining room.
Oh, ATM machine. Yeah. Oh, ATM machine.
Decor. But fortunately, this restaurant didn't seem quite as bad as its first impression suggested. Because when Gordon Ramsay ordered from the menu, the first food item that hit the table, the clam chowder, was impressive enough for him to give direct praise to the owners.
I'd just like to say that's nicely seasoned, very tasty, and
Perfect for a winter's day.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Now, everything else that followed was a total disappointment, including the seafood crepe that Gordon.
You know that's crazy though. Like, let's go back with the dish that he ordered. This people will order this much and end up like getting this small portion and end up getting like 15 or 25 just for this and like the little other small size stuff. Like,
very tasty and perfect for a winter's day.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Now, everything else that followed was a total disappointment, including the seafood crepe that Gordon dubbed as
"That's seafood crap."
However, the game changer was that despite being a stubborn couple at first, Bill and his wife eventually came around and started to actually heed Gordon Ramsay's advice. They fully embraced every change introduced by Gordon, including adding new menu items, interior revamp, and the habit of making every part of the kitchen spotless. During the relaunch,
yo, Gordon Ramsay still like help out other restaurants and stuff like that in general and try to see what's better. Cause I ain't lying to you. If he was still doing this when my mama had her little restaurant and stuff, I ain't lying to you. I think it was CKC business would have been booming. Dang, man. I wish my mama still did have her little restaurant and stuff like that.
things started off hectic, with food being either undercooked or burnt. But it all finally came together when Melissa, the head chef, found her rhythm in communicating with her team. And for the first time in years, life was breathed back into Handlebar. And the success lasted even after a year when Gordon returned to check in on how it was doing post-rescue. Regrettably though, Handlebar was closed down in 2009, shortly after Gordon's second visit. There had been no official statement about the reason behind this decision, but a common theory was that the owners had to sell the restaurant to take care of Billy's cancer treatment, who passed away years later. Closing up shop is the outcome every struggling restaurant wants to avoid, which is why Charita, the owner of Mama Cherry's Soul Food Shack, placed all her hopes on kitchen nightmares when her restaurant started to bleed out money instead of turning a profit. Right off the bat, this quaint, intimate eatery located in the shoreside city of Brighton was unlike most nightmare restaurants seen on Kitchen Nightmares. Here, there was no ear-aching shouting and chaos in the kitchen, and although its exterior and interior did not exactly make the best first impression on Gordon Ramsay, the Food Shack's dishes were actually deserving of being served in a restaurant, because on top of Gordon giving subtle praises for the appetizer,
it's actually quite nice. Very delicate fish, and it's nicely fried. It's very light, really nice.
He enjoyed the main so much that he returned to the kitchen with an empty plate.
This may be the first time I'll actually go back to the kitchen with an empty plate.
A scenario never before seen on the show, either prior to or after this episode.
Bloody delicious.
Thank you.
Gordon even went on to say that the meal reminded him of home.
And it actually made me feel like I was back at Mum's for the first time.
Oh.
And I was home cooking. It was very good.
Oh, don't get me crying.
Which is perhaps the best praise a soul food shack like Mama Cherry's could hope for. But just when the episode so far didn't exactly feel nightmares-ish, the cracks that earned Mama Cherry a spot on Kitchen Nightmares became evident the next time Gordon arrived. Mama Charita, the owner, was doing all the ingredient preparations, leaving the head chef having nothing to do. And the part-timers either arrived late, clocked in while still thinking about their day jobs, or simply came and went as they pleased. To top it all off, the home-style food that Gordon had been so impressed by would have been pulled straight from a freezer if it had been a regular service. However, compared to most kitchen nightmares and terrors you'd see on the show, these were pretty much child's play problems for Gordon Ramsay to fix. The basics, impressive food, was already there, so Gordon just needed to give the restaurant a little nudge. After Gordon encouraged the head chef to ditch the frozen meals and Charita to consolidate the sprawling menu into a fixed 3-course set served family style, the relaunch night was a huge success, with some customers even saying,
I haven't eaten anything quite like this before, and it's really nice.
I will come back, definitely.
She trying to say, she ain't slick. She ain't slick. She ain't slick. Y'all know, if y'all caught what she was saying, she ain't slick. Just know she's not slick.
On a Wednesday night that typically saw only 8 customers, the restaurant managed to pull in 1,000 pounds as if it were a Friday or Saturday evening. And this success didn't just carry on, but very much snowballed down the road, a scene when Gordon returned to check on the restaurant 2 years later.
Follow me. Follow me.
Mega, she's not kidding. This place is triple the size of the shack.
By 2006, Mama Cherry's Soul Food Shack had become Mama Cherry's Big House after it moved from its tiny spot to a 5-floor restaurant. And by this point, it was fully booked 3 months in advance, catering to about 1,000 diners per week. But when everything about this upgraded restaurant seemed perfect on the surface, new problematic issues emerged behind the scenes of Mama Cherry's. Chefs had returned to cooking and reheating food in bulk, functioning almost like a fast food operation rather than a true soul food restaurant to keep up with the demand. And Gordon, after being so proud of Mama Cherry's progress, was just blindsided by disappointment.
You can have whatever you like. You can have whatever you like.
You can just kind of say, can you hand me that glass? Get it?
Nigga.
Just, where's the passion gone? What the fuck are we doing? Get that shit in the bin. Everything in the fucking bin. Now.
But of course, once again, he stepped in to rescue the restaurant for the second time. He gave Mama Cherry's chefs a much-needed earful, which resulted in the revival of the good food that reminded Gordon of the original charm of the OG shack.
Looking at it, tasting it, I feel like I'm back in the fucking shack. Good. I didn't feel like that last night.
In an ironic twist of events, however, the restaurant simply couldn't keep up with its popularity after Kitchen Nightmares, especially when Charita began hosting cooking demonstrations and releasing cookbooks. In October 2007, the restaurant was rated a 0 out of 5 for food hygiene, which signified that it was likely that the food was contaminated with E. coli. One of the restaurant's Yelp reviews even mentioned that her experience with Mama Cherry wasn't just disappointing, it was a health risk. The ribs were greasy, the fried chicken had a film on it, and me, the biggest pig who'll literally eat anything, did not even touch the chili. I went home and had to sleep with a bucket next to my bed. I was so ill post-Mamas. The restaurant's surge in popularity, especially after the owner Charita, went from being a blessing to being the very cause of the restaurant's downfall. By 2008, Charita was once again racking up debt at nearly 200,000 pounds to keep up the operational costs. And by August 2009, the administrators who were licensed in December 2007 to take over the business and help it deal with the mounting debt had no choice but to close the restaurant for good. But despite its brick-and-mortar location,
I feel like if they wouldn't have had their little frozen food and everything was just straight fresh, they would have been straight.
Closing, Mama Cherry never lost her connection to bringing good food to people. In 2023, the restaurant's spirit returned to Brighton through a pop-up eatery, and to date, Charita still joins local events where she offers amazing soul-in-a-bowl meals. She even started a YouTube channel called Mama Cherry, which, of course, features her soul-comforting food. With
Ain't that bad. But alright, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media, pop up on the screen. See y'all when I see y'all. Lay y'all to the bottom of my heart. You want to roll to 500 and I'm out.